Hi everyone, how are you? This is author and therapist Bryan Blakeny. Today is October 24th, 2018. Time is moving. If you've been paying attention to the news, the world as usual could use a whole lot of love. Today I'm going to share with you the 5 sacred acts of love that can make an incredible difference in your relationship. So I hope you're able to take them to heart and see their magic. Imagine one day that you're driving down the street, you're thirsty, and you see a convenience store to get you decide to get a beverage, and you see that they have RC Cola. You're like, wow, I haven't seen RC Cola, Royal Crown Cola, in years. You take it up to the counter. The cashier says, "Would you like that in a bag or a sack?" You say, "Sure, a sack is fine." SAC. And so now we put the RC Cola in the sack. That's RCSAC. That provides you the letters for the 5 sacred acts of love, RCSAC. The R stands for restraint. Think about the simple things that we can do to restrain ourselves from doing or saying things that can be harmful or hurtful in our relationships. The C stands for conscious choice. Instead of just going around reacting, imagine developing a way of being in which you are present, you're conscious of what you're doing, and you're actually able to choose how you respond or engage a situation. So we have RC, restraint and conscious choice. And now we have SAC, SAC. The S stands for self-responsibility. Imagine, before we're pointing the finger at other people, imagine our ability to actually look in the mirror at ourselves. So few people nowadays are able to look in the mirror and consider how they may be occurring and coming across to other people. So rather than just throwing up the defenses, imagine going, hey, you might be right. Well, I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't considered that I come across that way. As human beings, we have a tendency to minimize our own behavior. This is kind of part of what's called the fundamental attribution error that you can look up. And so we tend to, if there's success, it's something good, we tend to attribute it to ourselves. If there happen to be any problems or mistakes, or particular emotions that we're not too fond of that other people might be causing, then we tend to blame that on other people. So self-responsibility, the S, is about really being able to look at the mirror and look in the mirror and consider if someone is bringing something to your attention. Try as humbly and considerately as you can to consider, hey, that they might have a point. It's not the end of the world. We can all do some work to self-correct and be aware of how we come across to others. It's something we all work on. It's a lifetime. No matter how long a couple might be married, they still deal with it. So welcome to the club. Relationships are challenging work, but that's the perfect workshop for spiritual growth and preparation for our eternal journey beyond this life. So we've got self-responsibility. The A is for acceptance. Being aware of what are the conditions that we have no control over. Acceptance does not mean that we like a situation. It does not mean that the situation is good, just, or fair. But we simply recognize the areas of life that resistance is futile, and that the resistance provides distress and negative emotion that can often destroy our relationships. I'm sure that's all something we're all familiar with, right? So self-responsibility, acceptance, and the C is compassion. Compassion, with just like the word patience, oddly enough, pati in Latin, I believe, means to suffer with. So compassion requires patience, and in both cases, it's sometimes suffering with someone in maybe their hardship and their challenge. Maybe being able to suffer with our own pain that we might be dealing with. So bring a little bit of tenderness in, a little TLC. See what you can do to warm up your relationships. Not always point the finger. Make your relationships sacred. These are the sacred acts of love. And the word sacred, the word sacrifice, within the word sacrifice is the word sacred. So it is through making sacrifices, sometimes giving up something that is dear to us, our money, our time, perhaps our health, our resources, our attention. Sacrifice is something that's very mystical and spiritual nature. Because the irony of sacrifice is, in a sense, there's no such thing, because to truly make a sacrifice, the rewards are tenfold oftentimes. Doesn't mean that the reward is instant. It might be, sometimes the reward is years later. Some of those rewards might actually take place in the realms beyond. We may not directly benefit in this life. But that is one of the great mysteries of sacrifice, and it requires a degree of faith, conscious knowledge that is acted upon, faith in that which is unknown, knowing that there is no such thing as sacrifice, in a sense that for everything that we give up, we gain something. For everything we gain, we give up. So it's back and forth. It's reversed as well. So it's an exchange. For everything that you gain, you give up something. For everything you give up, you gain something. So think about that for a moment. So these are the 5 sacred acts of love. RC, SAC. Put the RC Cola in the sack. Once again, restraint, conscious choice, self-responsibility, acceptance, and compassion. See if you can memorize those. Drop me a line, drop a message, a comment. Let me know how long it took you to memorize them so that they're second nature to you. Give it a try. And RC SAC can help you do that. And let's see what we can do to see if we can get a movement of bringing a little more sacredness and compassion to our relationships, where we're actually cherishing our relationships in a way that makes it clear that there really is love, and it's not a relationship of some convenience or some benefit that we're getting. That we're not just in the relationship for what we can get out of it. So that's one of the great mysteries as well. So make your relationship sacred, beautiful, and bring some more love to the world. We could sure use it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.